Good evening, gardening friends. It's Tuesday, May 30th at a little before 9 p.m. I wanted to give you a partial update on some of the things going on. So we're actually kind of doing this by porch light. But I got an offer of some 2x6s. I got an offer of some 2x6s. And so I decided to try and make use of them. So one of the first things I did, since my step stool broke recently, I built some stairs. I can literally now walk up the stairs, and this is an eye-level view. So this gets me up into my tomato plant. Let me go back down the stairs. Anyway, so that's just so I can do my maintenance on the big planter. I have caged the tomato. I have pulled off various branches and stuck them into the hanging planters out by the office. We've still got the planters back there. But and then the other thing I did with the 2x6s today was I put in some back legs. I don't know how well you can see that. The larger legs back there in the middle of your picture, they run top to bottom because basically this was designed to be sort of half supported by its own legs and half supported by the wall that it's kind of hanging on. But I really decided I didn't want to put any more pressure on the wall than I had to, so what I did was I cut the 2x6s to be just a hair larger than the space between the ground and the support underneath. That would then pick them up by a 32nd to a 16th of an inch and take the weight off the wall. So this is now freestanding and fairly stable. It still has a bit hanging over the wall, but most of that should break away if we have a real problem. Anyway, well, at least I hope it will. If we have an earthquake, we have an earthquake. It is California. Not much change to the mid-size planter, but I have just I've cleaned up the, I'm hoping you can really see that. Let me see if I can get myself out of the shadows there. Cleaned up the patio. Over on the other end, I've built a couple more planters, so I've started transplanting more stuff. Oh, and if I swing back around, I've bought more wood that I can use to build more planters. I've just got it sort of neatly stacked up right there. So that's basically it. I guess it doesn't sound like as much as it was, but it was a full day of building and enhancing. So that's the update for tonight, and we'll see if we do a full update tomorrow or the next day. Good morning, gardening friends. It's now May 31st at a little before noon. Just want to actually get this on record. I have now built yet one more planter, and I have planted cucumbers. I've got a bush hybrid up in the front there. Sorry, I guess the lighting's kind of a little off. But up near the dog ear, I've planted a bush hybrid, one on each corner. And then I also replanted the lemon cucumber. I would keep trying to do that one. It doesn't quite work, but I got them on this corner and that corner in the planter. So we'll see if any of them take. If they go crazy, I'll have to pull them out and transplant them in more of these, but I've still got some room on the shelf. So anyway, that's getting it on record. Good morning, gardening friends. It's the next day. It's June 1st. At a little before 11, about 10:40, and I just want to give you another quick update today. Eventually I'll get to another full update and release an episode, but I think I'm going to be building one box a day for the next week or so until I can basically fill in this entire shelf here. I do have some more wood, and I'm going to need even more than that. I changed the design around a little bit, so it's kind of like 2 white boxes, 1 red box, 2 white boxes, 1 red box. You can't the red boxes in there. So it forms sort of a pattern from the outside if you're looking at it kind of like a fence. Anyway, today's box is a transplant. This is a basil plant that I had growing in the north courtyard in a bigger pot, so that one's going to disappear from the updates because it's going to be here, or disappear from that part of the updates. Anyway, so there's part of it. There were actually enough plants growing in there. I set one aside in a pot because my parents are actually talking about making pizzas with fresh basil on them. Good stuff. But they didn't have a basil plant. They've been going out and buying, so I figure I can provide them with basil plant, and they can plant that in their garden or put it in a pot or whatever they want to do and have some fresh basil. So that's it for today's update. Just kind of giving you the wider view, and until tomorrow's update. Good evening, gardening friends. It's June the 2nd, and I've got a small update here. At least I'm going to try and keep it short. I'm going to be going on vacation in the future, and one of the things with so many plants is the question of what in the world do I do about watering them while I'm gone? So I've been looking at various people's ideas on YouTube, and I decided to sort of come up with my own. Maybe somebody else has done it, I didn't watch every single video, but this is sort of my idea. I took an old ice cream container, which is sitting on top of the air conditioner. I got some irrigation tubing and some T's and connectors, total of about $8 worth of parts. I have put water in that ice cream container on the top there, and you can see the tubing comes down, and basically I haven't created the whole system yet. It just kind of comes around, which I don't know how well you can see, then ultimately makes it through the other side where I put the rest of the coil there and stuck it into the medium garden planter. It has taken 15 minutes at the beginning of this video, which was the time it took when I tried it with the soda bottle before, and that soda bottle drained in 15 minutes. So let's take a look. After a little bit more than 15 minutes, you can see there's still some water in there, and that was about a gallon. Now I'll grant you the soda bottle was 12 ounces, but that drained pretty quickly. This has got gravity working with it too, so that may be part of the reason why it's draining as quickly as it is. But in any case, that's where it is, and it is not only filled up that medium container, which you can actually see is draining out at this point onto the patio. So, you know, a gallon was more than it needed right at that spot, which is right pretty much dead center in the planter. I don't know how well you can see that. So I may have to distribute it, or I don't know. But I mean, the main principle on all these sort of small irrigation things like the aqua globes and what have you seems to be that the tip of the device has a small orifice, and when you stick it into the ground, that gets sealed up by the dirt, especially if the dirt's already wet. I didn't pre-wet this before I stuck it in, but the idea is that if it's wet, the soil will swell up and plug it so that it won't let any more water down until it starts to dry out, and then at that point it's dry, it shrinks, and then the water can come out again, and the cycle repeats. So that's the basic principle. I'm going to have to keep tweaking, because if it only took about 15 minutes to drain this, maybe a little bit more, I don't know. I'm going to have to figure out. I'll keep tweaking. I'll let you know. Good evening, folks. It's Monday, June 11th at a little before 5:30. I don't know how well you can hear me. I can see I need to clean the lens, but I can't give you a full update. There's been a lot going on. I do want to give you a partial. So let's see if I can, that's my air conditioner in the background. Let's see, the nasturtium's doing pretty good. The couple of developments that are going on up here are, number one, I've got actual nasturtium seeds. I hope I got that aimed right. You can actually see those growing. I've got a couple of beans here. I've got a couple of beans growing elsewhere, so you get some down here. And I've got a little other project going on I'll have to tell you about once I get it actually working. It basically has to do with the fact that if I go on vacation, how in the world is this all going to get watered? Stuff over here, I guess this is turning into more of a full update. The greens are doing okay. I had emptied one of the planters here. The medium planter, and it's going to get a little quieter now. I had some unfortunate news this week, and at one point I came out in the last few days, and here's one of my kabocha squashes got chopped off by a grasshopper. So it's time to reload the spray gun with a bit of flour and water, and may have to do another treatment out in the bushes out there to try and discourage them. We got a lot of birds. I haven't updated you on that in a bit. The birds that I had seen have hatched, or at least it appears they've hatched, and sorry, they were already hatched. What am I saying? They've grown up and left the nest, but they've got more nests now back in the parking lot, and I have to figure out how to try and get them moved more into the complex. If they're going to be, I just don't want them buzzing people in the parking lot. I've moved some of the plants from the north courtyard. So this is the bean that was there that had the radishes. All the radishes were dying, so I just pulled them out. Bean seems to be doing well, except when I moved it, it kind of fell over a little bit. The stem kind of had a little crease right there. So I've got it well supported, and it seems to be surviving. The boxes are doing well. As you can see, I got quite a few now. I still have a few more I'm going to build, but let's see if we can sort of, we've got the tall zinnia, we've got some chamomile, we've got the tomato, we've got what looks like broom corn and a petunia, we've got more chamomile and some basil, we've got more chamomile, broom corn, and I think that's it on that one. This one appears to be a broom corn. Oh, and behind it, I'm not sure if that's going to be stock or carnation, but that's one of them, I think. We've got the other plant back there, which was the sort of bush type thing. That's got another story coming on it. I'll give you the update when I'm ready. Let's see what else. We've got another tomato branch, which I just stuck in the ground because the tomato plant was getting out of control. It's starting to kind of bounce back from looking like it just completely died. We've got more basil here. We've got more chamomile here. At some point, I guess I'm going to have to get rid of some of the chamomile or move it over to the bigger planters on the side. We have got, I've forgotten what I planted, but I think there's a smaller update right before this. We've got more basil growing here. The cucumbers are doing nicely. I've got a burpless bush growing there. We've got a couple of flowers from the north courtyard. Unfortunately, I'll sort of pause here and tell you that the friend that was in the apartment there where I have all of those kind of on her wall, she's gotten rather sick. She's in the hospital, and to care for these plants, it's a little easier to care for them out here. I've replanted them. If she returns home, then I'll figure out getting some flowers back over there again, but it's easier to water everything all in one place, so I'm slowly kind of migrating everything to this side. The strawberry plant that was over there, I've sort of cleaned it up and planted it, and just in the last 10 minutes or so I've planted, let's see which is which here, this first planter with the tiny knot and the nails sticking out, which was unintentional. That is pinto beans, and this is cowpeas, which look an awful lot like the Royal Burgundy beans. This one has a knot down there, so hopefully that'll help identify it. That's that. I guess that's it for in here. Oh, I was going to say the hanging plant that I had up here is no longer hanging there. It kind of fell apart, so I just decided to trash it. I rarely do that, but it was just in bad enough shape. I put up a bird feeder up here. We got a lot of birds kind of hanging around. None of them seem to be too interested in that feed, though. And we've got the hummingbird feeder. The one that I had up there before actually broke, so I went out and got a cheap one, filled it up, and hummingbirds love it. So things are doing good here on the patio. It's just been really, really busy. Back up and give you another shot of the whole thing. So there you go.